If you enjoy stories like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful true stories. The quiet suburban neighborhood of Maple Ridge looked peaceful. Kids on bicycles, lawns perfectly trimmed, and flags fluttering under the afternoon sun. But behind the white fences and polite smiles, one homeowner association, the HOA, ruled like a dictatorship. That day, Rachel Carter, wife of retired Navy SEAL Darius Carter, was watering the small flower bed in front of her house. She had planted blue hydrangeas, her husband's favorite, to celebrate his recovery from surgery. Two men in yellow HOA vests walked up the driveway. One of them, Rick Dalton, was the self-appointed compliance officer. The kind of man who enjoyed throwing his weight around. "Ma'am," he said in a sharp tone, "you can't have these flowers here. The community code says front yard gardens must be pre-approved." Rachel wiped her hands and smiled politely. "These aren't a garden, just flowers around the porch." Rick sneered. "I said remove them. You're already on thin ice for the color of your fence. Don't test me." Her neighbor across the street, Mrs. Young, peeked through the curtains. Everyone in the neighborhood knew Rick was a bully, especially toward the new families who didn't look like him. Rachel tried to stay calm. "My husband will handle it when he gets home." Rick laughed. "Your husband? What's he gonna do? Plant more of these weeds?" She turned to walk away, but he stepped in front of her, blocking the path. "I said now," her voice firmed, "Sir, please leave my property." At that moment, his partner Earl muttered, "Rick, let's go. This ain't worth it." But Rick didn't stop. He grabbed the small shovel from her hand. "You'll follow the rules or I'll make sure you regret it." The sound of a struggle drew people outside. Rachel's hand slipped as she tried to take the shovel back, and Rick shoved her, hard. She stumbled backward, hitting the grass with a gasp. Phones came out. Neighbors started recording. Within minutes, the sound of sirens filled the air. But it wasn't just the local police arriving. It was Darius Carter, speeding down the street in his truck, still wearing his Navy cap. He jumped out before the engine even stopped. "Rachel!" he shouted, running toward her. She was shaken but conscious, holding her arm. Then Darius turned, his face stone cold, voice low but commanding. "Who touched my wife?" Rick stepped back. "Sir, this woman assaulted me. We're HOA security." But Darius wasn't listening. He took one step closer, towering over him. "You assaulted a disabled woman on private property, and you did it in front of witnesses." The police officers arriving froze for a moment. They recognized that look. The calm before a storm. Rick tried to shove his badge in Darius's face. "You better back off!" But when Darius reached into his back pocket, what came out wasn't a weapon. It was his Navy SEAL ID. "I've spent 20 years protecting this country," he said quietly, "and you just attacked the woman I fought to come home to." The crowd around them went silent. Even the officers glanced at each other, realizing this wasn't just another neighborhood dispute. Darius turned to the lead officer. "I want this man charged with assault and trespassing. You have the video evidence." Rick scoffed. "You think anyone's gonna believe you? You're just another—" Before he could finish, one of the officers interrupted. "Sir, I'd advise you to stop talking." Rachel, holding her arm, whispered, "Darius, please, just let the police handle it." He nodded slowly, his jaw still tight. "I'll let them, but I'm not letting this slide." The officers took statements from witnesses. Every camera caught the same thing, Rick pushing Rachel to the ground while yelling obscenities. Within an hour, Rick was in handcuffs. As he was escorted to the squad car, he turned to Darius and hissed, "You'll regret this." Darius's eyes narrowed. "I've been through war zones, son. You don't scare me." The HOA board tried to handle the fallout quietly, but Darius wasn't finished. He filed a federal civil rights complaint citing harassment and physical assault motivated by bias. His legal team, composed of veterans he'd served with, backed him fully. During the court hearing 2 months later, the footage was played on screen. Rick's lawyer tried to argue it was an accident, but the judge wasn't convinced. Judge Lawson leaned forward. "Mr. Dalton, you assaulted a woman on her own property while falsely representing authority. That's not an accident. That's abuse of power." Rick's face turned pale. "But the HOA, the judge cut in sharply, does not outrank the Constitution." Gasps filled the courtroom. Then the judge turned to Darius. "Mr. Carter, thank you for your service. This court finds the defendant guilty on all counts. Restitution and damages will be awarded." Outside the courthouse, reporters surrounded Darius and Rachel. One asked, "What will you do now?" Darius smiled faintly. "I'm turning this into something good." A month later, a new sign went up on his property. The Carter Foundation, standing up for homeowners' rights. The foundation offered free legal help to families bullied by HOAs, especially veterans and widows. Rick, meanwhile, lost his position and was banned from community boards across the state. The HOA was forced to issue a public apology and rewrite its conduct policies. One evening, Rachel stood on the porch as the sun dipped low, holding Darius's hand. "You know," she said softly, "I just wanted to